welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to be sharing with you some of the things that I do to make sure that I'm refreshed and ready to go for homeschool when we start in the new year. So if you enjoy this type of content and other homeschool and lifestyle content, please remember to subscribe and let's get into it. All right, so I mentioned recently, I think it was in the Q2 review, how it was this time of year is very burned out for me. I get very burned out. It's very hard for me, like right before Christmas, right after Christmas, I just like need a break. And so I took that break over Christmas, and then the plan was, I'm telling you this now because it's just funny that this was the whole plan and it just sort of worked out and sort of didn't. But the plan was to go through and to clean every portion of my house, basically. And so I don't know about you, but mentally, I think it's been harder for me to function this last, semester. I think it's semesters because my husband's a college professor, but this last semester because I just felt behind. After ankle surgery, I felt behind, felt like nothing was as clean as I wanted it to be. I just couldn't get to everything. And so I was like, I'm just gonna make sure I get to every room in the house and clean everything up. That was important to me because then visually, everything is clean. Otherwise, it kind of fogs my brain up. Even though I'm not constantly thinking about it, like consciously, it's still there unconsciously, like, oh, I need to do these things, and it stresses me out and makes it harder for me to focus on homeschool. And I just feel like I'm more easily frustrated because I just know underneath all those layers, there's all these things that haven't been deep cleaned in months, all these other things that need to happen. And I just haven't gotten to them. And so I went through, I cleaned my laundry room. Most of this stuff, I'm a relatively clean person. And so stuff isn't super, super dirty, but a lot of stuff just hadn't been cleaned well in a long time. And so I went through and I was pretty brutal with myself and with my kids with cleaning everything out. And I did not film any of it because honestly, it's so hard to film and actually get stuff done at the same time when I have all 6 kids around me all the time. And so if I was constantly trying to move the camera and film and do all the things, like nothing would ever happen. So I'm gonna tell you a few of the things I did. Some of this stuff I think I have a little bit of B-roll for, not in any of the cleaning, but I do have a morning cart refresh that I'm going to do, like put in at the end of this video so that you can see that, like just prepping all the stuff for homeschool. But I'm gonna go through and talk about a few things first, and then I'll show you that. That's kind of the plan. So going on with talking about cleaning the rooms, I went through and I was like, I just wanna hit every room and just look through it and make sure that everything is kind of organized and cleaned, and make sure everything's put away. If there's clutter, even if you are a very clean person, living in a space naturally just creates clutter. And so you just have to go back and reset a space. It is just a fact of life. It's going to happen regardless of how clean you are, especially when you have so many people in your house. And so I did that to each of our rooms, and I did it to my kids' rooms. A lot of times I'll just let them clean their rooms. They clean them every Saturday. They take turns because each of them share, except my 2 youngest are still in separate rooms right now. They will eventually share when their schedules line up a little bit better, but right now they don't. So my 4 oldest kids, the 2 boys and 2 girls, share rooms and take turns cleaning them every other week. Like, they clean up their own stuff, but vacuuming, that kind of stuff, they take turns doing. And so I went in to their rooms. My girls was actually not so bad. Sometimes it is bad. And then my boys was like, it was a little bit of a nightmare. But we got through it. We had so much trash in the garage, to be honest. Like kids, I don't even know how they collect this much trash. How is it even possible? And so we had so much trash just piled up in the garage from their rooms and stuff that we had to gradually get rid of over the break every week because our trash was just too full. And so I did those rooms. I went through our storage room because we have some food. It's food storage, but it's also just food we usually go through. So I went through to see if anything was expired or, just needed to be used sooner, or if there was anything we needed more of, like to stock back up on. I went through and made sure of all that. my husband went through and cleaned out all of his closet. He does some YouTube stuff too, and he uses our spare bedroom in the basement. And so he cleaned out a bunch of stuff down there. We went through toys, kind of just were like, do we use this? Is it broken? Got rid of a bunch of stuff. And so I felt like I was in a pretty good spot. We got to all those things. And then we had some water damage from my toddler. Well, he's 3 now. He's ish a toddler. But last summer, he flooded our upstairs air conditioner. And so it flooded into our entryway ceiling and a beam that goes across. And so I fixed some things over the course of the last year and a half. And I was like, okay, Christmas break, we're gonna get this scraped, like all the bubbled paint from the water, and fix it. But the beam, the corner bead was coming off. And I am not a drywaller. I've done it once, was not very good. And that was years ago. And so a friend came and kindly helped us out and fixed it. And so we took 2 full weeks off of homeschool. So the week of Christmas, and then the week right after Christmas of New Year's. And so then the week after that, which was last week, we just like 2 days of school if we do Tuesday, Thursday, because we had a lot of doctor's appointments because my boys all had their birthdays. So we had doctor's appointments, dentist appointments, all the things. And so I was like, okay, well, we'll just do school Tuesday, Thursday, and then I can have the other days to paint and fix everything so the walls is all good to go. That was the plan. We got through most of everything, right? Until last week. And we all ended up with colds. Well, most of us ended up with colds. My husband doesn't get sick very often, and so he luckily did not get sick. But a lot of us ended up with colds, and it was one that had fairly mild symptoms, but I was just wiped out. Like every day I was just exhausted for about 7 days. And see, I still have a cold, which is why I have a mint in my mouth, and it was probably like, you can hear it and all the things. So none of the painting happened. We still got to all of our appointments and stuff since our colds weren't horrible, and not all of them were for me either. Like my husband took some of the kids to things too. And so we got to all of those things. We took care of that. But every day I was just like dead on the couch because I was so tired. And my husband was up all night. One of the nights with our 3-year-old because he was just uncomfortable with, the cough and everything like that, and the being kind of croupy a little bit. And so it was just not the week I planned it to be, so I was like, well, we're going to come back to full-blown homeschool this week, and I'm just going to be ready and refreshed. And I don't feel like that was the case. And I feel like there's still some things that need to get done. The walls still need to get painted, so I still need to figure out when to do that. So we made all these plans to be refreshed. And I feel like in a lot of ways I am and was, but there's some things that did not go as planned and that didn't end up feeling very refreshing. And so here we are just doing the best we can, chugging along. So I'm just telling you this because life is full of unexpected things and moments, and you just have to keep on going. Maybe you don't want to, and it's okay to take a break. I was glad last week I had only planned for 2 days of school, because even those 2 days were a little bit hard for me, and like to talk or to read stuff was difficult, and it's still a little bit difficult now, or you could just have taken the whole week off, and I just took a lot of downtime. It was like, no, I will heal better if I let myself have a break. And so it's okay to do that. Okay, sometimes that just happens, and it's easy to beat ourselves up about it. I know I beat myself up about stuff like that, but it's so much better if we just are like, it's okay, we'll just start over again next week. It's not a big deal. Everything will be fine. And so that's what we're doing. 2 other things I wanted to mention that kind of helped me be prepared and refreshed for starting homeschool again after a long break and after a whole semester of school. The first one was sitting down and planning some things. I didn't go crazy on my planner, but I did at least plan out our science units to see where they were going to take us for the next, basically semester. I planned through that. And then also with our geography, I didn't go specifics with a lot of other things. If I need specific things throughout the week, I'll do that. But a lot of those things I didn't plan specifically just because they can change a lot. Or with our read alouds, I might not get as much read as I wanted to and stuff. So those ones are a little easier to plan more week by week instead of laying it out for months and stuff. So I did that with all of our science and geography, just so I could see what we were doing and kind of get an idea of when our quarters are gonna end and when our school year is gonna end. So that was helpful for me. And then I just went through the homeschool room and kind of refreshed everything real quick. Went through my kids' drawers, cleaned off the bookshelf. I cleaned out the closet pretty deeply behind me. Went through and again was trying to be brutal about what we were gonna use, what we're not gonna use, and got rid of all that stuff, cleaned off all of our carts, which leads us to the morning cart. I went through and cleaned off all the old stuff and put all the new stuff on there. So I'm gonna show you that right now. So this is what I got here. I was gonna show you real quick. So I put all the scripture stuff here. We're starting new scripture sections this year. And so I switched out all that kind of stuff. I did our meditation stuff here, Pledge of Allegiance. I used to have a whole bunch of these coloring books, but my 7-year-old is the only one that does them. So I only kept hers and not the other ones because they were just taking up so much space. I kept all of our geography stuff here. It's all the same with our book and then all of our workbooks, all my kids' workbooks here, and then some drawing stuff. And then we're gonna do for our history, like mini unit, we're gonna do Mount Everest. So this is from the Waldock Way, just a like download thing. So I need to make more for all my kids. I just had printed one originally. And then I put science here, so we're gonna be doing chemistry. So I have all my kids' workbooks right here, and then the extra reading books that go with it. And I left the big book of science stories for the little hearts and hands and the workbook here. Sometimes I do this with my 7-year-old, especially this time. Chemistry is going to be really hard for her. This is an upper level like science class from The Good and the Beautiful, so we'll see about that. And then I didn't really change too much down here on the bottom. I put a few books. So I had some extra books down here. So for our geography curriculum, we're gonna be doing the Trumpet of the Swan, I think. I'll have to double check. I think that's the one that's next. And then I have the Mount Everest books that we're gonna be reading, as well as a few, hi, are you coming to say hi? As well as a few other ones over here that I'll put down on the bottom. They're just really big. And so some other Mount Everest books and then some games. I might keep this one on the cart but this bigger one I'll probably put back in the closet. So these are some games that we'll play as we talk about Mount Everest. And then the only other thing, I guess I put this book up here, The Refugee, or I think it's just called Refugee. We've been planning to read it for a while, but hopefully we'll finally get to it. And then I switched out their scriptures right here, but this is just all their journals, their year of nature, year of writing, and then we do like a question a day. And so they have these little workbooks that they write their question a day journal for kids. That's this book right here. So those are the things I switched around. So now it's all ready for the next quarter. All right, I hope you enjoyed this video of kind of how I refresh our space, refresh our life for the new year and for starting school again after a long break and after having just been go for, basically 4 months, and how, it can kind of make a mess of things or make things a little bit chaotic and things like that, and how everything just needs a little bit of a refreshing. It might not be super deep and take tons of time, but there's just little things that need to be addressed as you get ready to start another quarter of school after being busy for the last semester. So that is kind of what we did. There was a few unexpected things and a few things that still need to happen because of that. But overall, everything went really well. So let me know down in the comments how you guys get ready to start school again, because sometimes starting after a break is really hard. And making sure you're mentally prepared, that your kids are ready, and sometimes it's a little sluggish getting back into it and getting everybody used to that kind of routine again. So let me know what works well for you, or maybe just some things that you cleaned that you'd wanted to clean over the break, because I'm all about cleaning and organizing things. So let me know any of that kind of stuff down in the comments. Remember to give this video a thumbs up, and I will see you next time.